Good morning, everybody. I am not Thad, as you can see, and I'm really hoping that this technology works and that everything's going to go smooth. So I am Kaila, for those of you who haven't met me in person. I'm the one usually on the other side of the comments, saying hi to everyone and getting to watch. My mom is watching. Hi, Mom. Anyway, I'm not Thad. He is not feeling well. He, I think, ate something that didn't agree with him and hasn't been doing so great for the last couple days. So, well, 2 days really. So he's resting, and he was gonna put I'm out feeling sick, and I thought, well, I'm going to attempt this, which is a little bit nerve-wracking for me because I've never done this before on Jesus Time with all of you, but it's something we do every day, right? Just digging into the Word, and it's really something anyone can do. And just wanted to show that and figure out the technology as we go along. So because we did get back late last night, I was kind of running around trying to find cords and cables and figuring out how this is going to work. So I think it's all good. All right, Anne says hi, so that means that other people can see me, which is awesome. All right, well, we're going to jump in. Today we are doing Daniel chapter 3, 1 through 18. And so we're going to go through there. There's a lot of good stuff in here, so I'm super excited to kind of share some of the things that popped out to me. But just, really encourage you guys to go through and see some of the things that just really stand out to you too, and who you can relate with the most. So what am I supposed to do next? Oh, pray. Yes, that we definitely need to pray this morning. Please pray for me. Make sure this all works. Anyway, Lord, we love you. You are just an awesome God, and you show up in so many different ways every single day. And we just think that we have the technology, we can all come together, and we have your word to guide us, and just that we can be in it, all of us, every day, and just gleaning from it and helping us, like I said, to guide our lives, and just be really great examples of who you are in this world. So, all right, let's dive in. I've got all sorts of books here. I'm trying to figure out which one to use. So, Daniel, so he said chapter 3, 1 through 18. King Nebuchadnezzar made a gold statue 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide. It set up on the plain of Jera in the province of Babylon. Then he sent messages to the high officers, officials, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the provincial officials to come up to the dedication of the statue he had set up. So all of these officials came and stood before the king Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then herald shouted out, "People of all races and nations and languages, listen to the king's command. When you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipes, and other musical instruments, bow to the ground and worship King Nebuchadnezzar's gold statue. Anyone who refuses to obey will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." So at the sound of the musical instruments, all the people, whatever their race or nation or language, bowed to the ground and worshipped a gold statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. But some of the astrologers went to the king and informed on the Jews. They said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, "Long live the king! You issued a decree requiring all the people to bow down and worship the gold statue when they hear the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, zither, harp, pipe, and other musical instruments. That decree also states that those who refuse to obey must be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have put in charge of the province of Babylon. They pay no attention to you, your majesty. They refuse to serve your gods and do not worship the gold statue you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar flew into a rage and ordered that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he brought them before him. Then, when they were brought in, Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you refuse to serve my gods, or worship the gold statue I have set up? I will give you one more chance to bow down and worship the statue I have made when you hear the sound and the musical instruments. But if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace, and then what God will be able to rescue from my power?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into a blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up." So like I said, there's a lot of really great things in here. And the things that popped out to me, and they came up in different orders, so this isn't going to all be in order. But the first thing that came up was just some of the things that King Nebuchadnezzar had done. So if you remember back in Daniel chapter 2, Daniel had recounted the dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had. And in it actually was made up of several different types of metals. But if you can see here in chapter 3, he actually made it all of gold. So by signifying that, there's a couple things there. Is that if you go back, he said how awesome is your God that you could interpret this dream. Not only did you know what it was without me telling you, but then you could interpret it. And so he was quite, taken aback by that and really thought God was pretty awesome. But a chapter later, he obviously forgot how awesome God was, because in that he actually made it all of gold, which indicates that he wanted this was all about him, and it was all about his kingdom, and he thought it would, be forever, and he didn't include any of those other metals like it was in the dream. And so sometimes I think, have I been like that, where I've seen God really show up in my life, and it's been super obvious that he is God, and he is amazing and powerful and all-knowing, and then I've kind of maybe gone my own way and made my own decisions and forgotten what just happened, maybe a couple days or a couple weeks or even, a year ago. And so that was something that came up in just terms of, is that something that I've ever done? And something else that Nebuchadnezzar did, I think it was around 13, where he flew into a rage. Now, I can say I don't get super angry. I don't remember a time that I have, but even just the reaction of it, if something doesn't go my way, or quote unquote my way, which I don't even really know what that means, but sometimes we can get just really stuck, and we think that things are going to happen in a certain way in a certain time, and they don't. What's my reaction to that? So for him, people weren't obeying him, and he flew into a rage and just really reacted. And so that just made me be open to reflecting on, this week, or, in the week ahead, or even today, if things, or you're frustrated by stuff, or if I'm frustrated by things, what's my immediate reaction? And so that was one thing. And so, there are times I think where we can identify with King Nebuchadnezzar in this. If you look at some of the ways that he reacted, some of the decisions he made, then we can go back and go, oh, I've definitely done that, or I want to make sure I don't do things like that, and just, be aware, right? And then on the other side, there's the three guys, which I'm sure I'm not saying their names right, but anyway, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I mean, what courage, right? I mean, they are living in a world, and I remember reading a book once, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that have talked about this, but just flying right side up in an upside down world. And very much, I mean, they were living in a culture that did a lot of things that was very different from their culture, and they were really immersed in this. And to be able to preserve and keep their culture and their beliefs and make sure that they're worshiping their God, I mean, that would have been tough as it is. And then to be called out and say, hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna throw you into a furnace. Like, I mean, they were faced with death. And so I don't think we're ever faced with death in our culture. I mean, we have incredible freedoms, and in North America, and just even around the world, where we can worship God, and we're not faced with that. But even taking that down to a lower level, where are times where we know who God is, and we maybe slip from that, or worship other idols, and those could be anything. And so that was one of the other questions I went through a whole bunch of rabbit trails on this one, but what are some of the other things that we unknowingly or knowingly worship today? Is it fear? Do we let ourselves slip there? Is it gossip? Is it there's just so many different things that are in the culture around us, and I think sometimes we can slip to that. I know I can, for sure. And so just really catching ourselves before we get too far in that, and really just standing up for the way that God calls us to act. And so and I think one of the other things I wrote down was just what does that look like in today's world in terms of either going against what God wants or sticking with that, right? So these may or may not make sense because I just threw a whole bunch of ideas down on paper. But and then the other question that kind of popped out to me is, would I have been willing to face death, and would I have spoken up like they did? And like I said, it could be from a big level like death, or it could just be standing up and doing the right thing. And what does that look like? And so there's, lots of different things in there. And one thing that actually was kind of cool that I read in a commentary in one of these awesome books that has on his desk was, they had a choice, right? They were told to worship and they didn't. They were given a second chance and they didn't, but they could have. And I think this is something that comes up for us, is that we could have made quote unquote excuses. So in this one, it says the 3 men were given one more chance. And here are 8 excuses they could have used to bow down to the image to save their lives. We will fall down, but not actually worship the idol. So, that's something that I think that shows up a lot of times in our lives, right? We won't become idol worshipers, but we will worship this one time, and then we'll ask God for forgiveness. The king has absolute power, and we must obey him, and God will understand. The king appointed us, and we owe this to him. This is a foreign land, so God will actually excuse us for following the customs of the land. Our ancestors set up idols in God's temple, so this isn't half as bad. We're not hurting anyone by doing this. And if we get ourselves killed and some pagans take our high positions, then they won't help our people out of exile. So, those are all, fairly reasonable things, right? But they didn't choose any of those excuses. And I think sometimes we can slip and go, oh, well, God would understand, or maybe this is, this, or whatever it is. So it's just really checking our heart and our motives and our head, as we're faced with pretty, important decisions and on a daily basis. So anyway, I've probably babbled enough. Hopefully someone got something out of all of that. And like I said, there's a lot. Hopefully you dig into there and just see what's coming out to you, and really just ask yourself some questions. Who can I relate to? Have I had these similar things, and what kind of things can I do to make sure that I am just making the same decisions as these guys did, and just in their faith, and just having that courage and standing up. So there's a lot of people on here. Hopefully I can see everyone. I don't know how this all works, but we've got Cheryl on here, and Anne, and Judy, and Robin. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you from this side. Matt and Joelle and Alice, thank you so much for your kind words and encouragement, Alice. And Marilyn, good morning. I get to say hi in person. This is awesome. Angela, I may have said that. All right, that's all I can see on here. But yeah, between Thad and I know later today, I'm sure he'll jump on and say hi to everyone, and I'll jump in the comments soon. But thanks so much for this opportunity. And like I said, it's pretty cool. It's not every day that I can, speak into a camera, and I'm sure I stumbled over my words and said a lot of ums and things like that. But this is something we can all do, like I said. So we just dig into the Bible, share, and whether it's on live on, hacking someone's Jesus Time Facebook page, or just sharing with friends, or digging in and just sharing the things that you guys have learned, it's something we can all do. So I will pray us out of here, and yes, hopefully Thad is feeling better soon. And then anyone else that needs prayer, please post in the comments as well, and we'll make sure that we lift everyone up in prayer today that needs it. So thank you, God, for you're just such a good God, and just the things that you've done. Every time I dig into your word, just seeing the things you've done in people's lives throughout history, and it's just so undeniable, how good you are, and just how grateful I am that you are our God, and that you have done the things you've done, and just that we can learn from all of that, and continue to live out your way and worship you. So I just pray that everybody has an awesome day on here, and that if anyone needs prayer, that we can lift them up, and that you just guide our steps, and just challenge us in the way that we react, and the way that we think, and the way that we portray ourselves in the decisions that we have to make every single day and today as well. So just work in our hearts and our minds, and let us be a light to those around us, and just stand out and know that people will wonder, why we make different decisions, and why we are the way we are. So I just pray that for everyone today. And like I said, just enjoy the sun and have an awesome day. And we'll see you all soon. Have a great day, everyone. Love you all.